The final battle was near. Fleet Omega, battered but unbroken, now stood at the edge of the Zorvith homeworld system. The planet itself was a swirling mass of dark clouds and burning storms. It was the heart of the brutal empire that had tried to wipe out humanity. Admiral Kai Marino stood on the bridge of the ESS Vengeance. His voice was calm but full of steel. "This is it," he said to his crew. "We fight not just for ourselves, but for every soul lost. The Zorvith will fall today." The Zorvith had prepared for the assault. Their ships, though fewer than Earth's, were heavily armed and shielded by strange energy fields. They offered surrender, an offer Earth refused without hesitation. The humans knew this was their moment. Marino ordered the fleet to attack. The battle began with a blast of light and energy. Human warships launched volleys of missiles and pulse beams. Zorvith ships responded with ferocity, firing massive energy bolts and unleashing deadly biological weapons. The space around the planet lit up like a storm of fire. Pilot Rika, in her fighter, zipped through the chaos. She dodged enemy fire and aimed at a giant warship. Her missiles struck the hull, creating deep cracks behind her. The ESS Starburn took heavy damage but stayed in the fight on the ground. Captain Isha Vorn led the final assault on the Zorvith Citadel. Her squad fought through thick alien jungles, past collapsed buildings and burning ruins. The enemy fought fiercely, but the humans pressed on. Inside the Citadel, the Zorvith leader awaited. A monstrous figure wrapped in dark armor, its eyes burning with hate. Vorn faced him in the throne room. They fought hand to hand. Vorn's skill and determination matched the leader's strength. With one final strike, she knocked him down. The battle was over. Above, the human fleet disabled the Zorvith Central Command Grid with a powerful quantum EMP strike. Without guidance, enemy ships faltered. Marino's fleet pushed forward. Capturing the last enemy vessels, the Earth flag was raised over the Zorvith homeworld. A message broadcast across the galaxy: "We are not conquerors, but we will never be victims." Back on Earth, people cheered the victory. Memorials were held for the lost. Names of the 4.1 billion were read aloud in every city. The war had changed humanity forever. As a new starship launched from Earth's dockyards, its hull gleamed with the words 4.1 billion. Never forgotten. Humanity had fought back and won. At first, it was just static. The Earth Communications Command noticed it during a routine check. One of the far-off colonies in Sector Delta 4, a group of 5 populated planets, had gone quiet. No messages, no signals. No data transmissions. Just silence. Commander Raylan frowned at the screen. "That can't be right," he said quietly. He tapped a few keys, trying different channels, different frequencies. Nothing worked. He called for backup. Within minutes, engineers and technicians filled the room. They tried every emergency protocol, but there was no response. It had been only 4 hours since the last message. Then it became 6. Then 10. Then 20-4. Earth tried to send scout drones. None came back. They tried to contact nearby star systems. They had also lost contact. Something was very wrong. 2 days later, a damaged escape pod entered Earth's deep space radar range. It drifted slowly, with its outer shell nearly melted and half its systems destroyed. A retrieval ship brought it back. Inside, there were only 2 survivors, a child and a scientist. The scientist, barely alive, whispered a single sentence before slipping into a coma. They didn't want slaves. They wanted nothing left. The child didn't speak at all, just clutched a piece of torn fabric in her small hand. It was part of a school uniform covered in ash. The Earth Council met. In silence. The highest officials, military generals, and planet leaders gathered in the Unity Chamber. A giant screen behind them showed the words, "Casualties, 4,102,329,881. Confirmed dead, the largest single loss in human history." They watched the recovered footage from the escape pod. A sky filled with purple fire, people running, the air tearing apart, then a soundless blast, light swallowing everything. There was no enemy message, no declaration of war, no communication. The attackers had come in silence and left the same way. They didn't even give us a chance to surrender. One official said, his voice shaking. General Meritan, head of Earth's defense forces, stood up. This wasn't a war, she said. It was extermination. The president of Earth stepped forward. She looked old, tired, and filled with grief. Her voice, however, was steady. We are not sending a message, she said. We are sending a fleet. The room stayed quiet for a moment, then the entire chamber stood in agreement. Earth was no longer waiting. Earth was going to respond. Factories across Earth and Mars shut down civilian production and shifted to military. Ships, weapons, and armor rolled out at record speed. Scientists enhanced old designs with new tech. AI joined the war effort. Recruitment centers overflowed with volunteers, people who had lost family in the colonies, soldiers who had retired, and young ones who refused to stay behind. In the skies above Earth, shipyards came alive. Fleet Omega was being built. In one corner of a spaceport, a young woman named Leia watched a video of her twin brother, one of the lost colonists. He had recorded a short message just days before the attack. Can't wait to show you the lakes here. So blue, it feels like the sky fell down. Now that lake, that world was gone. She signed up the same day. A massive broadcast was sent from Earth across the stars. It didn't contain words. No speeches. Just the image of the 4.1 billion. Names scrolling slowly in silence, and at the bottom of the screen, we do not forget, we do not forgive, we do not wait. The search began. Deep space probes finally picked up the trail. Strange energy patterns, unknown ship signatures, and warp echoes traced back to a region far beyond explored space. The enemy had a name, the Zorvith Dominion. An ancient, ruthless alien empire that believed in cleansing planets for resources. To them, humanity was just another infestation to clear, but they had made one mistake. They had thought humans were like the others. Quiet, weak, easy to erase. They were wrong. In orbit above Earth, the first full unit of warships came together. Each one carried a name of a fallen colony. The largest ship, SS Vengeance, carried a special plaque inside its bridge, for every voice silenced. We roar. On launch day, every screen on Earth displayed the fleet rising into the black sky. Families cried. Soldiers stood proud. Children pointed to the stars. The president spoke one last time. We don't want revenge. We want them to. No, humanity is not afraid. Humanity remembers. And humanity will not stop until justice is served. The fleet vanished into warp space. And Earth waited. Not in fear, but with fire in its heart. The launch of Fleet Omega was not just a military mission. It was a promise. Across Earth, people stopped in the streets to watch. Giant screens showed the warships rising slowly from the planet's surface. From Asia to the Americas, from the ocean, cities to Mars colonies, people stood in silence. Some saluted. Some cried. All remembered. The 4.1 billion lost were not just numbers. They were family, friends, entire cities turned to dust. Humanity had suffered before, but never like this. Now, it was united. Inside the flagship SS Vengeance, Admiral Kai Marino walked across the main deck. The bridge was filled with officers, AI assistants, and screens showing fleet status. Each ship had a crew trained for only one mission: bring justice to the enemy. We enter Zorvith-controlled space in 4 days, Marino said to his crew. We expect resistance, but remember what they did to us. He looked at a small photo pinned beside his station. It was his wife and daughter, both gone. Both among the 4.1 billion. This is not just war, he said quietly. This is our answer. Meanwhile, on Earth, every factory ran day and night. Robots and humans worked side by side. Fighter ships, drones, exosuits, and weapons were produced in massive numbers. New armor called Titan Skin was created, stronger than steel, lighter than air, powered by smart energy cells. It could survive space, laser fire, and radiation. Engineers even built pulse cores, small power sources that gave human ships a speed advantage in warp travel. No other species had it. Earth was building smarter, faster, and harder than ever before. On the moon base, special teams trained inside gravity chambers. These were the Gravediggers' elite ground units who would be first to land on Zorvith territory. Each of them had lost someone. Their leader, Captain Ushavorn, gave her squad a new motto: "They erased our homes. We erased their fear." News of Earth's mobilization spread quickly across the galaxy. Other alien races began to notice. Some feared Earth's power. Others respected it. A few sent messages of sympathy, but none offered help. The truth was clear: no one wanted to face the Zorvith Dominion. For centuries, the Zorvith had ruled through terror. They destroyed civilizations that refused to obey. And now, they had made Earth their enemy, but Earth was not like the others. Earth did not beg. Earth built fleets. Deep in the asteroid fields of the outer systems, Earth's spy probes picked up strange energy signatures. Ships were moving fast and in formation. A scout vessel named ESS Raven 9 followed the trail. What it found shocked the entire command. Dozens of Zorvith warships were gathering near a red dwarf star. They were preparing another attack this time heading toward Mars. The Zorvith weren't finished. They were just beginning. Back on Earth, the council met again. The decision was fast. A second wave of ships would be prepared called Fleet Solaris. It would stay behind to protect Earth and its nearby systems, but Fleet Omega would not turn back. Admiral Marino received the orders and nodded. "Let them try," he said. "We will burn their empire before they reach another one of our worlds." On board the ESS Starburn, a young pilot named Rika sat in her fighter bay. She was only 22, but her skills were unmatched in simulation tests. Her father had died on Vega 12, one of the first planets lost. She stared at her helmet, then whispered, "I'll fly for him." Her co-pilot Juno tapped her shoulder. "And I'll shoot for mine." Across the fleet, people like them filled every station. Not just soldiers, but engineers, medics, pilots, AI programmers, and even former farmers. All now wore the same symbol on their chest, a shattered star surrounded by fire. 4 days passed. Fleet Omega reached the edge of known space. What lay ahead was darkness, uncharted regions where Zorveth ships moved like shadows. Earth's fleet halted near a gas giant named Vorta 6. There, in orbit, they prepared for what came next. Admiral Marino opened a fleet-wide message. "This is where we begin." They thought we would hide. They thought we would break, but we have built something stronger than fear. We have built unity, we have built purpose, and now we show them what it means to fight as humans. On Earth, the stars seemed brighter that night. Children lit candles by windows. Churches, temples, and halls of science opened their doors. People of every culture stood together not to pray for peace, but to hope for strength. Because in the void of space, 500 warships moved quietly toward Zorvith space. And they carried no diplomats, only fire. The Zorvith world called Dravik was no paradise. It was cold, dry, and covered in black stone. But it held something important, one of the largest Zorvith military bases in this part of space. From this planet, the attack on the human colonies had been launched. Satellite records showed huge power surges here just hours before the colonies were erased. Now, Earth had found it, and Earth was not going to wait. Fleet Omega arrived in the shadow of Dravak's dark sun. The human ships didn't announce their presence. There was no warning, no message. Just like the Zorvith had done. Admiral Marino stood at the bridge of the ESS Vengeance and looked at the live screen. "All ships in position?" he asked. "Yes, sir," replied the officer. "Cloaking systems holding, weapons charged, awaiting orders." Marino stared at the dark planet. His fingers tightened into fists. "Then let's begin." The attack started from orbit. Dozens of human stealth ships released guided missiles that screamed silently through the vacuum. Each one was coated with a special material that made them nearly invisible to enemy scanners. The first explosion hit a power station near Dravak's northern pole. It lit up the sky like a second sun. The next wave hit command towers, hangars, and communication centers. Zorvith forces scrambled in confusion. They had never seen such fast and precise attacks before. Within 10 minutes, Dravak's orbital defenses were down. Human fighters launched from carriers and flew straight through the smoke. Their engines hummed with Earth-made power. Inside them were pilots with hearts full of fire. Rika, the young pilot from the starboard, dove into a group of enemy drones. Her hands moved fast, her focus unshaken. 2 drones exploded behind her. Juno laughed in her headset. Nice flying. Let's send them a message, Rika said. Meanwhile, the gravedigger units dropped to the surface in heavy drop pods. Each pod slammed into the ground like a meteor. Out came soldiers wearing Titan skin armor. Their boots cracked the rocky ground. Their weapons hummed with deadly energy. Captain Osha Vorn led her team toward the main Zorvith bunker. Move fast, she said. Clear every room, no mercy. They stormed through the halls, taking down enemy guards and shutting down defense systems. It was a clean operation. Not chaos, but calculated precision. The Zorvith commander Andravik sent out a distress signal, but no help came. Other Zorvith bases were too far, and none believed humans would dare to strike this deep. They had underestimated Earth. Admiral Marino watched the battle from orbit. Status? He asked. His officer replied, 70% of enemy ground forces neutralized. Civilian bioslaves being rescued. Our losses are minimal. A message came through from Captain Vorn's squad on the surface. Dravik is falling, sir. We'll raise the Earth flag within the hour. Marino closed his eyes for a moment, then nodded. Well done. In one of the dark corridors of Dravak's lower levels, Leia, the twin sister of a lost colonist, found a strange device. It was locked behind energy fields. Sir, she radioed in, I think this is important. Sending data now. Engineers aboard the Vengeance received the scans. Their faces grew pale. It's a planetary eraser, one whispered. This is what they used to wipe out our colonies. The device had been powered by a collapsing star core, something forbidden in most galactic treaties. The Zorvith didn't just destroy planets. They erased them from space-time. Now Earth had proof, and a reason to go even further. Within hours, Dravik was under full human control. The Earth flag, 5 stars on a silver circle, was raised above the main bunker. Rescued. Prisoners from other species watched with wide eyes. Some cheered, others cried. For the first time in their lives, someone had struck back against the Zorvith, and a video was recorded from the surface. It showed Captain Vorn standing near the fallen Zorvith banner. Behind her, human soldiers stood tall. She spoke into the camera. This is for the 4.1 billion. You erased our people, we erased your fear. And this is just the beginning. The footage was sent across the stars. It reached neutral planets, border systems, even places once under Zorvith control. The message was clear. Humanity does not forget. Humanity does not hide. And humanity does not stop. Back on Earth, people celebrated. The night skies lit up with fireworks. Children wore shirts that said, Remember Dravik. Families of the lost felt something they hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. But Admiral Marino was not celebrating. He stood in his quarters, staring at a screen showing the captured Star Core weapon. We stopped one world, he whispered. But how many more are there? Fleet Omega didn't turn back. They prepared for the next strike. The war had truly begun. After the fall of Dravik, news of humanity's fierce strike spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Many alien worlds watched closely, some with hope, others with fear. In the grand halls of the Galactic Council, diplomats from dozens of species gathered. The council was a place for peace talks and decisions about the future of space. But today the mood was tense. The council leader, a tall alien with shimmering silver skin named Varel, addressed the room. Earth has entered a war unlike any we have seen, he said. They are strong, united, and unforgiving. This has changed the balance of power, some delegates whispered quietly. The Zorvith Dominion was a known threat, a brutal empire that destroyed worlds without mercy, but no one expected Earth to fight back so fiercely. A representative from the peaceful race called the Elysians stepped forward. Her eyes were soft, her voice calm. We urge Earth to seek peace. War will only bring destruction to us all. But a grizzled warrior from the Cretans, a race famous for their battle skills, growled in response. Peace? The Zorvith erased billions of lives. They will only stop when crushed. Earth is right to fight. Meanwhile, in distant star systems, rumors flew faster than light. Traders spoke of the human roar, a name given to Earth's sudden attack. On Dravek, some feared Earth's rising power. Others admired it. Back on the ESS Vengeance, Admiral Marino listened to intercepted council transmissions. "They don't understand us," he told his officers. "We are not here for politics. We are here for justice." Then came the worst news. A scout ship returned with terrifying data. The Zorvith had developed a secret weapon more terrible than anything Earth had imagined. It was a weaponized wormhole. This bomb could tear open space itself, creating a hole that swallowed entire planets. It was the true reason behind the colony's disappearance, not just destruction, but erasure. Earth scientists studied the device's energy signature. "This is a disaster waiting to happen," said Dr. Mina Rivaz, chief scientist aboard the Vengeance. "If they use this weapon near Earth, our whole system could vanish." Admiral Marino called an emergency meeting. "We must find where they build these bombs." He said a plan was made quickly. A small team of elite soldiers and engineers would be sent to a dying star system called Krithos, where intelligence said a weapon factory hid. Captain Usha Vorn led the strike team again. She trained her squad for months in secret missions and sabotage. "We don't just fight soldiers," she told them. "We fight a nightmare." The team left quietly, hidden inside a stealth ship called the Shadowhawk. As they approached Krithos, the dying star sent bursts of deadly radiation. The crew wore heavy protective suits. Inside an asteroid belt near the star, they found the factory. It was huge, covered in spikes, energy shields, and guarded by massive war machines. Using their advanced tech, the strike team avoided patrols and defenses. Inside the factory, they found rows of wormhole bombs being built. The room vibrated with energy, and a deep hum filled the air. Vorn's team planted explosives in key locations, but then alarms blared. Zorvith. Guards poured in. A fierce battle broke out. Energy rifles fired. Explosions shook the walls. Vorn fought bravely, protecting her team. One engineer, Tarek, rushed to finish setting the charges. "Almost done," he shouted. But a Zorvith warlord blocked his path. Vorn stepped in. The two clashed, human strength and skill against Zorvith brutality. Finally, the charges detonated. The factory shook violently. Energy shields failed. The wormhole bomb started to overload. The strike team rushed back to the Shadowhawk. As they escaped, a massive explosion lit up Krithos' sky. Back on Fleet Omega, the crew watched the destruction on their screens. The weapon factory was gone. The wormhole bomb threat was stopped for now, but the cost was high. Several soldiers were lost. The fleet had to recover. The Galactic Council reacted to the strike. Some praised Earth's courage, others feared war would spread everywhere. The Elysian diplomat pleaded again. "Please, Earth, consider peace. The galaxy is fragile." But Earth's answer was firm. "We fight not for war, but for survival, for justice." On Earth, families watched the news. Many mourned the lost soldiers, but hope burned stronger. People wore badges that said, "We stand with our fleet." Admiral Moreno prepared the fleet for the next battle. He looked at a star map filled with Zorvith targets. "We will find every weapon. We will stop every attack." The galaxy was watching, and humanity was ready. The destruction of the wormhole bomb factory was a victory, but it was only a battle in a much larger war. Earth's fleet had dealt a heavy blow to the Zorvith, but the enemy was far from defeated. Admiral Kai Moreno sat in the command room of the ESS Vengeance, eyes fixed on the star map glowing before him. The next threat was clear. The Zorvith were preparing massive biological warships, weapons unlike any Earth had faced before. These creatures, grown in huge space vats, were designed to tear through metal and flesh alike. "They are sending their worst," Marino muttered. "We need a plan, and it has to work." On Earth, scientists and engineers worked around the clock. The top minds of humanity poured all their knowledge into a new project, Project Scorch. It was a bold, risky mission to strike deep inside the Zorvith's territory and destroy the biological warship factories before they could be unleashed. Captain Usha Vorn was once again chosen to lead the strike team. This time it was not only about ground combat, but also about sabotage, infiltration, and quick escape. We're not just soldiers, Vorn said firmly to her team during training. We're the ones who will burn their weapons before they can hurt us. We carry Earth's hope. As Project Scorch prepared to launch, Earth's fleet gathered near a dying star system called Talar 7. The system was dangerous, its star unstable, and flaring bursts of deadly radiation. Vorn's strike team was inserted inside a stealth ship named the Nightshade. The ship was equipped with new gravitational distortion fields, a technology that could bend space and confuse enemy sensors. Inside the Nightshade, Vorn checked her armor. Her breath was steady, but her mind raced. She thought of the billions lost and the families still waiting. We move fast. We strike hard. We come home? She said softly, as they entered Talar 7's asteroid belt. Alarms suddenly blared on the Nightshade's console. Biological warships detected. The pilot shouted, "They're activating!" Outside, enormous living ships twisted and grew like monstrous sea creatures. Tentacles and spines glowed with eerie colors. Their hulls were made of thick, living tissue that could heal quickly from damage. The Zorvith unleashed their beasts early. The fleet scrambled to respond. Human engineers quickly activated gravitational distortion fields around their ships. These fields created unpredictable warps in space that confused the biological warship's attacks. Pilot Rika, in her fighter, zoomed through the battlefield. Come on, she muttered, dodging a giant tentacle strike. She fired a pulse cannon. The living hull cracked but healed almost instantly. It's like fighting a monster that won't die, Rika said. On the surface of a nearby moon, Vorn's team prepared to land. The moon was barren but covered with large factories growing. The biological warships. Tubes pumped strange fluids and strange creatures moved inside vats. The strike team's mission was clear: destroy the factories. Vorn led the team through the dark tunnels of the factory complex. The air was thick and heavy with a strange smell. Suddenly, alarms echoed. Zorvith guards poured in, half machine, half living beast. The strike team fought fiercely, using pulse rifles and energy blades. Tarek, the engineer, placed charges on the vats. Each explosion would destroy thousands of living warships before they could hatch. The fight was brutal. Several team members were injured, but they pushed forward. Vorn faced a huge Zorvith warlord, stronger than any before. She dodged massive claws and struck with precision. The warlord roared, but finally fell. With seconds left, the charges detonated. Explosions rocked the moon's surface. Fires spread through the factory. The living warships writhed and screamed as their nursery was destroyed. The strike team rushed back to the Nightshade as they lifted off. The moon exploded in a massive fireball. Back in orbit, Fleet Omega regrouped. Losses had been high, but the biological threat was crushed. Admiral Marino received live footage of the strike. "This is for the voices you silenced," Vorn's voice said over the COMMS. Marino felt a fierce pride. "Well done, Captain. Earth stands strong." But the victory was bittersweet. The war was far from over. The Zorvith Empire was vast, and many weapons still remained. Earth's fleet prepared for the next battle. Marino looked to the stars and said, "We will stop at nothing." On Earth, people waited anxiously for news. Each victory lifted spirits but reminded all that the cost was high. Families of soldiers prayed for their safe return. Children dreamed of peace. And the galaxy watched a new power rise: humanity.